For more on this, let's cross over to Middle East analyst Laura Blumenfeld in Washington, D.C. She's a senior fellow at Johns Hopkins University. Laura, Israel's air defense systems are meant to intercept missiles. Any theories on how this one got through?
Well, it's a numbers game to a certain extent. I mean, in the past 48 hours, if you think about it, it's the fourth attack by Houthis sending ballistic missiles over to Israel. There were millions of Israelis who spent their days in shelters, including Haifa to the north and Jerusalem, which is the heart, of course, of their country. And yeah, they hit a bullseye with Ben Gurion Airport. It's a failure for Israel's defenses. Three missiles had been stopped, but the fourth one slipped through. It's not only a failure for Israel, though, it's a failure for the United States. They clearly haven't deterred the Houthis. They've launched a kind of intensive military raids on the Houthis to try to deter them, and obviously they haven't succeeded as well.
Now, Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu saying Israel will seek revenge not just against the Houthis, but also against their backer, Iran. What could a revenge against Iran look like?
Well, look, I think that they're going to strike against both, and it's interesting to use the word revenge. Israel's defense minister said, whoever harms us, we will harm sevenfold. It sounds a little biblical, an eye for seven eyes. But both Netanyahu and the opposition parties in Israel agree that this is not Yemen, this is Iran. I think things will continue to go bump in the night, as they say, or boom in the night in Iran. You know, whether it's missile fuel depots or factories that assemble the parts of these ballistic missiles, drones perhaps. I don't think there'll be any kind of all-out public strike that Israel will take responsibility for while the United States is engaged in these nuclear negotiations with Iran. They don't want to disrupt that. Israel doesn't want to be seen publicly disrupting that. Today, they had a small victory where President Trump said for the very first time that the U.S. goal in these negotiations are for full dismantlement of their program, that kind of Libyan-style goal, a full dismantlement that Netanyahu set really as his marker of success for negotiations. I think Israelis feel like Iran is much more dangerous at the negotiating table than on the battlefield. They're known to be really tough negotiators who, you know, according to many in the Middle East, have got the better of Americans and of Europe in these negotiations, who they see as gullible and naive.
Now, Israel, military action on multiple fronts. The military is currently planning to expand its war in Gaza, despite a humanitarian crisis that's caused international outrage. What is Netanyahu's political strategy with this?
Well, it's kind of a two-pronged strategy. They are announcing that they're going to expand military operations in Gaza. You know, if you watch Netanyahu talk about it, he talks with a fist about kind of strangling Hamas, but it's he bangs on the desk. Watch the tape when he talks about absolute victory. And I think that his philosophy is there is little pity for victims in the Middle East. No one's going to feel sorry for Israel. No one feels sorry for those hostages. We need to apply military pressure. Of course, that's a controversial approach. The second prong, though, of that two-prong, is increasing humanitarian aid. They are going to open up Gaza to aid. They're going to deliver it through an American-Israeli mechanism, not the Israel Defense Forces, but other contractors, international contractors, because they recognize themselves that the storehouses of aid in Gaza, although they're being blocked by Hamas, blockaded by Hamas, whatever their explanation is, they are running low, and it's time to do something because the people are really facing a catastrophe there in Gaza. The biggest problem for Israel, I think, just overall, is that for many Israelis, when they look at Gaza, they say Gaza is Hamas and Hamas is Gaza. So it's very, very hard to kind of stir up what you need really in this case, which is empathy.
Laura Blumenfeld, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you for your insights.
Thank you.